Well, breaking right now on Denver 7 News at 7 o'clock on Local 3, at least 8 people have died. Dozens more are injured after a series of missile attacks in Ukraine, while Russian President Vladimir Putin says it's in response to a terror attack over the weekend.
Back here at home, 7 people are injured and 1 man is dead after a night out in Golden. We're learning more about why a man may have driven into a crowd on purpose.
And we still have 1 more week before the Broncos play again, but is that enough time for Russell Wilson to heal up? The latest on an injury to his throwing arm. That among many injuries the Broncos have suffered, and they're hoping this is a week of healing.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us on this Monday. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Nicole Brady. We know it's going to be a week of nice weather. Starting off kind of chilly this morning.
Yeah, a little cool early on. You're going to find some neighborhoods in the low 40s, others upper 40s, closer to 50, but it's really pretty and with a lot of sunshine here this morning, matched with that beautiful moon set right now. Clear skies. It's going to be bright early on. At the bus stop, your kids are going to find primarily 40s, but we'll climb back into the low to mid 70s here this afternoon. So pretty warm between about 4 and 5 o'clock. Denver 75, Evergreen about 10 degrees cooler, upper 50s to low 60s near Allens Park and Estes Park. Closer to 80, though, across parts of northeastern Colorado. So it's a pretty warm day. We're typically in the upper 60s this time of year. Coming up here in a few minutes, today, nice and dry. Tomorrow, we're going to start off with sunshine. Then there will be a chance for a few showers here along the northern Front Range. I'll show you the timing of some of that potential Tuesday rain coming up.
We have a tremendously large crash on the south side of town. I counted at least 10 vehicles. There's probably a couple more that I just didn't see that I think that are involved in this crash. It's southbound I-25 at Arapahoe. Take a look from the camera there, and this is part of it. So 1, 2, 3, the van, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then there's a couple more here, a couple more just down the road on the right and left shoulder right there at the exit. So what we have here is just the right 2 lanes getting through. That's the exit ramp that has to exit Arapahoe Road. This is the bridge, takes you from the parking lot to the light rail station here at Arapahoe, and it's a monster. Look at the traffic jam here at Bellevue. So it's barely moving. We're looking at a drive time right now, as you can see out of downtown Denver, at around an hour. So side roads to the Denver Tech Center are going to be a much better option. It's also affecting southbound 225 coming from well before Parker Road. So this is the big one right now. Huge delays all the way down to the Denver Tech Center.
And that's with 2 lanes getting through. All right, thank you, Jason. Well, there was a wave of missile attacks in Ukraine overnight. At least 8 citizens have died. 24 more are hurt in Ukraine's capital city of Kyiv.
Russia's Vladimir Putin says he ordered the strikes after the weekend explosion on a bridge connecting southern Ukraine to mainland Russia. The bridge is a vital connector for supplies like gas and food to reach Russian troops and others in the community. Here's ABC's Jay O'Brien.
Good morning. Russian state media is reporting that Vladimir Putin will meet with his top officials today in a meeting. It comes as the Kremlin is responding to that massive bridge explosion over the weekend and launching missile attacks at Ukrainian civilians. Overnight, large explosions heard in the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky confirming the explosions are from Russian missile attacks in multiple cities, saying Russia is trying to, quote, wipe us off the face of the earth. It comes as the Ukrainian city of Zaporizhia is still reeling from a Russian missile strike Sunday that killed at least 17 civilians. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin is now labeling the massive explosion Saturday at a crucial Russian bridge a terrorist attack. Ukraine has not directly claimed responsibility. As Ukrainian forces continue making tactical gains in occupied regions in the country's south and east, President Biden's stirring warning saying Putin is not joking when making nuclear threats now hangs over the conflict. The White House saying there is no new intelligence that Putin is planning an imminent use of nuclear weapons. Putin has also appointed a new general, Sergei Surovikin, to oversee military operations in Ukraine. He's best known for what's been described as total ruthlessness during bombing campaigns in Syria. Jay O'Brien, ABC News, Washington.
Well, it was a scary scene in Golden over the weekend when a normal night out turned deadly. A driver plowed into a crowd of people, allegedly on purpose, as they were leaving a bar. Denver 7's Brandon Richard has been following this story since it was breaking news yesterday morning. And Brandon, we now have a lot more information about the man who was behind the wheel.
We do, Brian, and I'll share some of those new details that we uncovered in just a moment. But first, I want to show you where this hit and run took place at, in this parking lot outside of the Rock Rest Lodge here in Golden. Now, deputies say this started as some sort of altercation between two groups of people. They say at some point the suspect, Ruben Marquez, got into a pickup truck, backed out, and then plowed into a group of people who were standing right over here, striking 8 of them. And instead of stopping, deputies say he continued on down that road. Now, we've learned that Marquez was actually on parole. He now faces murder charges. And all of this on top of a long criminal history in Colorado, going back more than a decade, including 3 convictions for aggravated motor vehicle theft. As we said, investigators say 7 people were hurt in this hit and run. One man died. And the man who died has been identified as Adrian Ponce by a woman who says that she is his sister-in-law. She described him as outgoing, loving, and caring. And she says that earlier in the night, he had gone to a haunted house before showing up here at the bar.
My sister called me around 4 o'clock in the morning and said, Ange, I have a gut feeling something's wrong. He's not home. He should have been home. He told me he would be home at 1. I can't get a hold of him.
And we know that there was another man inside that truck, the actual owner of the truck. He too was arrested and is being charged as an accessory. Now, neither man has been shown in court records right now on the court dockets, but we do expect that to happen at some point. And when they do face a judge, we, of course, will let you know. Reporting live in Golden, Brandon Richard, Denver 7.
Thank you, Brandon. Well, the latest Kids Count report, which looks at our children's well-being, finds young people in Colorado are dying at higher rates from things like homicide, drug overdoses, and even suicide.
Now, we know the pandemic led to more isolation and may have worsened depression for teenagers. I spoke to a local addiction counselor about this. He says parents should not be afraid to ask their children directly if they're considering ending their lives.
It's important to ask that. It's important to know that you're not going to make it worse by doing that. Now, that doesn't mean you go into accusations or anything like that. You listen. You hear what they have to say.
Blake Fleet with Chrysalis Continuing Care told me it's also important to make your home a safe place by removing guns or pills that could be abused.
If we can make it as hard as possible and give people enough time as possible to get from I'm having the thought to I'm going to take this action, that's the goal.
That seems to be an important message, that just having the thought isn't necessarily the end. There is hope.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. And it's not even that uncommon for people to have these thoughts.
Yeah, about 40% of Colorado high school students surveyed for the 2021 Kids Count report reported that they felt sad or hopeless enough over the past couple of weeks that they had stopped doing normal activities. That number was up from 24% in 2013. And the percentage of teens reporting they had seriously considered suicide went up from 14.5% in 2013 to 17% last year. Since the pandemic, the state now offers 3 free counseling sessions to young people. You can set those up at imattercolorado.org.
Today is Indigenous Peoples Day in Colorado, a day to honor Native people. You might have noticed some schools or businesses or even individuals making land acknowledgments. On CU Boulder's website, it says CU Boulder acknowledges that it is located on the traditional territories and ancestral homelands of the Cheyenne, Arapaho, Ute, and many other Native American nations. Winter Park's website also says we recognize and honor these Native nations as the original stewards of the lands and waters where we recreate today.
Taking the performative steps of simply acknowledging Indigenous people and the land with which you reside in, but then taking steps about how can we give back, acknowledge further in more meaningful ways Indigenous people and their contributions while supporting their development as well.
Yeah, some groups are even giving land back and others are paying taxes to Indigenous tribes.
Well, it is now 1 week till the Broncos' next matchup in Monday Night Football, and the question is, will Russell Wilson play?
This was supposed to be the week of healing. We learned over the weekend Wilson played last Thursday's game with a partially torn muscle near his upper back and shoulder of his throwing arm. He went to LA on Friday to get treatment, but the normal recovery time for this type of injury is about a month. So it remains to be seen if he'll be playing at less than 100%. Nonetheless, Broncos insider Troy Rink was told that Wilson is expected to play against the Chargers next Monday. That is a game you can watch Monday Night Football over on Denver 7. Want to get you caught up on a big traffic crash on I-25.
Yeah, it's down in the Denver Tech Center, Brian. This is southbound right there at the this is the bridge that would take you to the Arapahoe Light Rail Station. So we're heading south just after Orchard, right before you get to Arapahoe Road. The left side of the highway is all blocked up. I count about 8 vehicles in this little group here. I'm counting 13 overall. So that means it's going to be a lengthy process to clean up. We're looking at a delay of maybe 60 minutes already coming out of downtown. So Lisa, huge delays here. We also have a new crash northbound I-25 at Colfax. So that's big delays, unfortunately, up from Santa Fe.
Yeah, a bit of a mess. Roadways right now are dry, though, and we're going to stay pretty dry here for the next 24 to 36 hours. There will be a chance for a few showers tomorrow. We'll take a look at that coming up. But today, early on, we're in the 40s. We'll get to near 70 by noon. And then this afternoon, highs in the mid to even upper 70s for northeastern Colorado.
Well, if you're looking to expand your family with a furry friend, this may be the month to do it.
And do you choose a fast food chain because it's the fastest or maybe just has the best food? We have the #1 spot to get the food the quickest and why the slowest chain actually has more people coming back as well.